Welcome to Dodgers Daily. I'm Casey Porter. So glad that you decided to tune in. It's Friday. That means Coach Holt joins me. So, Coach, hey, man, I got to see that shirt, man. That thing is sweet. I've seen the hat before.
Yeah.
Brooklyn, hey, turn around. Let me see the back of it.
Yeah.
Oh, that is just absolutely awesome, Coach. That is awesome. There has to be a story behind that.
I think, listen, I've been married 35 years, but we were dating. She bought this for me, and I wore it a couple times. I got lazy with it because you can't wash the machine. You got to hand wash it. So I'm a lazy guy, So I hung in my closet for years and said, what the heck, man? Went to the National Baseball Hall of Fame. My son Kelly's wore that in there to the Hall of Fame, my cap. And went to watch the Dodgers last year at Kansas City wore it, and St. Louis this year wore it. So getting some use out of it now. It's only been worn about 6 times probably in 40 years or whatever. But I love it. It's a little Cooperstown collection, old school, man. That's how we are. No
doubt about it. Now, and I'm guessing the Dodgers are probably 6-0 every time you've worn that to one of their games.
I haven't seen them lose very often, and I'll put that. Maybe I need to wear that. Maybe I need to get out to L.A. sometime.
Well, good thing for all of us, the Dodgers have not lost very much as of late or ever in their franchise. Obviously didn't lose last night, man. How many times do you see this, Coach? You've been struggling to score runs, then all of a sudden you score 15 in one game. And or with the Marlins, you score 15 runs, and then the next game you can't score hardly any. It's almost like as a coach you sit there and go, man, I wish we could store some of these away, isn't it?
Wish I was as smart today as I was yesterday. That type deal, I got dumb in less than 24 hours. How stupid I got as a coach, but that's baseball. It's a humbling, as we all know that love it. It's a humbling game, and it can humble you in a hurry. But the Dodgers are good enough to overcome a lot of that humbling stuff, and I know they feel good if they have a game like that. They can't score. They know, okay, we'll be fine. We'll be back out here tomorrow, and it would be nice to have that. I mean, you've been on the other side where you're going, I don't know if they'll ever score a run.
Yeah.
Again, but the Dodgers, that's not a problem with the Dodgers. They're always going to be able to score runs. A few blips here and there, but they're not going to be down long.
Yeah, no doubt. But, hey, you got to talk me off a ledge here. Clayton Kershaw, I said at the beginning of the year, before the year ever started, I really thought the club should pace him at 100 innings. Now, I know that was hard to do because the race was tight. Mm-hmm. You weren't even in first place until after the All-Star break, so you had to use your best guys as much as you could. But I felt like Clayton Kershaw needed to be paced at 100 innings for the big picture to win the World Series. And coming into, April and June, he threw quite a bit. He was on a pretty heavy pace. Then all of a sudden we've seen him be injured in the second half. So talk me off the ledge here, man. It just seems like I know the Dodgers are going to win the division. Everything looks good there, but it just seems like everything's falling apart. Talk me off the ledge.
No, I agree with you there. I mean, I even go back a few years ago when Clayton, as he reached the age of 30 and everything, you're sitting there on one side, hey, yeah, Dodgers, Kershaw, but then you're worried about, how long are we going to keep, riding that horse, as you say, and you worry about that, the number of innings, and we saw it kind of is taking its toll, but, like you said, with a 13-game lead now, we can, again, I'm not running the club, but, I'm the fan who loves them, and, I know they've got some leeway. They can do some things, rest him a little bit. And you're going to have to get Pepiot and some of those young guys some more innings because one of those dudes is going to have to be a starter for you now with the other situation that arose for him this week.
No doubt. And I think Dave let the cat out of the bag yesterday. No matter, what's happened with Lance Lynn his last 3 outings, they're going to continue to try to make him the Game 2 starter. I think they're going to shut down Kershaw, try to make him the Game 1 starter. So I still think it's going to go Kershaw, Lynn, rookie.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's Kershaw, Lynn, maybe Pepiot, the way he's thrown his last 2 games. But, we don't know how Walker Buehler is going to progress. That's a great. Did you get to go down and watch him pitch?
I did. Lots of video of him. Yeah.
He looked good, didn't he?
He really did. New motion, a little quicker.
Right.
So, I know Bruce Kuntz was on that. Bruce does a great job covering prospects. And I didn't actually even realize he had sped up his motion. Bruce Kuntz actually highlighted that, so that was fantastic.
Good. So, you never know where he's going to come. That would be that's just a bonus for the Dodgers when you get down to playoff time that he's that 5 or 6, the plan they had, the 5 or 6 inning guy. If that's where he's at when they get down there, that's just a bonus. But the other bonus, you got to look at the way Pepiot's thrown his last 2 games. That's got to make you feel good about it too. But, and he's pitching in, there's not pressure because they got a 13-game lead, but you're still Major League Baseball. And he's having pressure, but there's nothing like playoff pressure. So you always worry about that. But boy, he's got the talent to help you. But I try to talk you off the ledge. I know, I've just got to look at what they've done all year. I mean, they've been totally able to overcome, what Kershaw brings to you. Lance Lynn is a true professional, like it or not, and it's not going to always be pretty, but he's going to give you innings. He's a horse. He's going to help your bullpen, if nothing else, keep innings off there and bring one of those young cats into that third game and just hope, that's the way people make their name, Case, in the history of baseball. Sometime in the playoffs, somebody's like, who's this guy? And all of a sudden he throws a 1 or 2 hitter, and the rest is history, as they say. So I like where they are right now. It's just, what I don't like is how good the Braves are. But, we'll worry about that later.
And how good their starting rotation is, which is where the Dodgers are struggling right now. So if you're Andrew Friedman, if you're Dave Roberts, you're comfortable that you're going to win the division. So how do you approach this next, almost a month?
Everybody's got a different. You even see it in football. You rest all your starters. You try to stay fresh. You're always that way. I think the big one is you got a 35-year-old Kershaw. I think he's 35. You've got to be smart there, and they are. Those guys, they've got everything.
Shut Kershaw down completely until the playoffs?
I think you can. I think you can sure pace him. I don't know if you want to shut him down completely. Of course, he's a true professional. He can take a month off and walk right out there and give you, a great turnout, in that first game. But that's a hard call to shut him down completely. But you sure got to be smart with him and make sure he's healthy when you get there. But it's got to make you feel good with those guys as far as a rotation. But the rest of the way, you're getting ready. You're getting guys at bats. You're getting innings. You're getting guys to play, and you're kind of planning ahead. Where can we play these guys at, and where can they help us out? You got Taylor, who can play everywhere, all over the stinking field. Probably he can play all 9 positions if you want him to. Kike can do the same thing. So that's what I've always loved about those guys. They always can fill in anywhere. And Muncy can do a lot of stuff there too. He's, not quite as athletic as those two, but he can play third, second, first, wherever you need him. So you got some things you can do there. So I think now you're just what do we need to do? And now you just took a thumping by the Braves 3 out of 4. So there's a lot of baseball to be played between you play the Braves the next time when it means something. But you still got to look. You still got to plan for if that does come to fruition. How you going to beat those guys? Was the Braves series a statement made by them, or is that just baseball? I think a little bit of both. I think it's just baseball. They're just a good team. They're the best. Look like the best team in baseball right now. I don't know if Houston's starting to scare me, and I sure don't like them either. Yeah, I like the Braves a lot better than I do Houston, but that's way down the line. We don't have to worry about them. But I think it's a pretty good statement by them. But it is baseball, but that's a pretty good statement by them going, hey, but we were in the same situation, we being the Dodgers, being the best team in baseball. They're going to win 110 games, last year, and then don't even get to the series. So, things can change in a hurry in baseball. It's like we said, a humbling game, and you never know. Clayton Kershaw threw 38 innings in April, 24 in May, 33 in June, and the Dodgers needed every one of those innings because, man, that was a tight race at that time. Okay, Ryan Pepiot took a perfect game into the 7th inning. Believe it or not, that's not the first time he's done that this year. If you go back to August 13th, he did that in AAA Oklahoma City. Now, obviously, that's the minor leagues, but it is the Pacific Coast League. And the PCL, man, that is a hitter-friendly league. So Ryan Pepiot, not only have we seen at the major league level, he was just ridiculously good at the AAA level last year. His ERA at the major league level was good last year, although he wasn't efficient. He's changed the efficiency. And, hey, when I had a chance to talk to him in the offseason, he talked about he wanted to reshape his changeup, which he had 2 different shapes to it. Last night, he made his slider a little bit smaller. So here's what Pepiot had to say about that.
Been doing a lot of stuff in the weight room to try to get my body in better positions to be able to access the strike zone more often. Because when I was in the zone all the time last year, I was being able to have a lot of success. So just being able to do that more consistently is kind of been the main focus for this offseason. I want to be able to go deep into ball games, go more than 5-6 innings, be an innings eater, whatever the role is, whether it's throw a few innings in the bullpen, throw a couple nights in a row out of the bullpen, or make starts, just go out there and do my job and put up as many zeros as I can and just try to keep the guys in the ball, guys a chance to win the ball game. So like you said, it was a lot about being more efficient. And I've been working a lot trying to get my body in different places so that I can access the zone so I can be more efficient. So that was, like you said, it kind of all cohesively goes together to try to make sure I can be more efficient and get outs faster. Faster I get outs, faster I get to sit down, faster the guys get to get off the field and go put up some runs.
Going with 3 pitches this year, the fastball, slider, and change?
Yep, still 3 pitches. I have a couple I can always wrinkle in, but those are the 3 I'm going with.
Which ones could you wrinkle in? Can you say that on the air, or you want to keep that?
No, you can say on the air. It's more like manipulating the slider. You can make a slider like cuttery, and you make it a little bit bigger. So can kind of categorically say it's a couple more pitches, but it's just one, just manipulate it a little differently.
Which pitches do you feel the most comfortable landing in the strike zone whenever you need them?
Right now, I'm feeling pretty good with all 3. So fastball feeling really good. Changeup, I'm getting back to where I want it from a couple years ago. Last season, it was a little more on the horizontal side. This year, I've got more depth to it. So I'm feeling really good with where I'm at right now going into this year.
So as you heard from Pepiot, really cool, Coach. It's cool to hear a guy talk about what he needs to do in the offseason and all the work they put in. Access the zone better with your body and the smaller slider, the less of a right turn to the changeup. So it's cool to hear a guy talk about all that and then actually go out and do it at a major league level.
No, and that's a great thing about him. He's been on the major league level. He can go back down to Oklahoma City in a very competitive league and work on stuff that he knows he's going to have when he goes back up there. That's great to hear from a young man who's fine-tuning his craft, what have you. But like you said, he went to the AAA level, perfect game, into the 7th inning. It's funny, I was listening to Coach Pat Jones, one of our favorite, former Oklahoma State coach yesterday. He's talking about
whatnot
here again. But he's talking about if they're good, they show it. He said that if they show it in high school, he said at some point in college, they're going to show it in college. I think it's the same thing he's talking about with Pepiot and all these guys. He's just at Tulsa doing that. It doesn't matter. If they're good, they're showing it there. At some point in the level, they're going to show it at the major league level. I totally agree with Coach Jones' take on that. And I think, at some point, that's great that he has a luxury. I've done this. This didn't work in the big league level. This is where I can work on this stuff. And it's great to see a young man doing that. And he's just a star in the making.
No doubt. There's always ups and downs offensively throughout a 162-game season. Dodgers, they had struggled just a touch, on the offensive side of the ball, just a little bit as of late. Of course, like I said, I don't think that's anything to be concerned with because I think that's just baseball, how it goes. So 5 players had multi-hit games last night, 8 players in total had hits. And also, Coach, Martinez is making his return tonight. So a lot to be excited about on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I saw JT was getting the swings in Oklahoma City.
Yep.
I don't even want to mention the fact that Mookie walked out there on crutches. That don't necessarily mean anything. That's just like keep off of that today. A couple days will be good. That doesn't necessarily, we all want to jump, talk me off the ledge on that one too. Please tell me Mookie's not hurt seriously. And he's probably, it's one of those, you see a guy in a boot, it's just like, taking off. You see a guy on crutches, that doesn't mean there's a major injury. Just keep the, weight off of that sort of thing. But offensively, you're right. Getting JD back, is a big boost for him. And, everybody else staying healthy. And they've shown that they can score runs. But like I said, there's been some hit and miss there and some downline guys that have struggled at times. But overall, that's a great offensive team. And I think they'll just continue. And getting JD back as there you go, as a professional hitter who's been in big games. And that's the guy you want in your lineup.
Yeah, and we're going to get into it here in a minute. But Michael Grove made a return yesterday. And as well as I do, he gave up a couple of runs in his inning that he threw, but so many times, Ryan Pepiot gave up like 3 runs in his first outing in like 2 innings. It's just not about results in a rehab setting because you're working on sequences, you're working on feel. You really don't even know who the hitter is that you're facing. So it's good to see Michael Grove back again. I really think his stuff, he got 3 outs, Coach, and all 3 outs were via the strikeout. I think the way that he's, his cutter was almost 90 miles an hour. He was reaching over 95. I think that stuff plays in a 2 or 3 inning setting, maybe even more than that. Michael Grove.
No, there's no doubt about it. And that's great to see for the Dodgers. And the playoff games, because they are, even a 7-game series is a quote unquote a short series. When you get down to the big scheme of things. So what they've been doing.
5-game series in the division series. So that you got to have good pitching.
Yeah, and you got to have those guys that can give you 2 or 3 innings. It's we see a lot of teams do that. They piece that one together. They call it a bullpen game or whatever.
Yeah.
And that you see that in the playoffs. They're not just I can remember even on our level case, sometimes you go out getting ready for the playoffs, you throw a different kid every inning, and nobody hits the ball. You're saying, why don't I do that every game?
Yeah.
Because, everybody's having to adjust a different pitcher every inning. You're like, I'm an idiot. I should do that every stinking game because, it went well. But, you just try to get your staff in order right there. If that's great, him being a 2 or 3 inning guy, and what Yarbrough and some of those guys they brought to the table, they're setting themselves up in good shape. Got to have Kershaw healthy, and maybe we'll get the Lance Lynn who, when he first came to the Dodgers, what we've seen lately. But
who could come back?
Yeah, you do know you're going to get a true professional Lance Lynn. When he takes him out, he's going to give you a chance, and I love his attitude, the way he approaches the game. So you got to love that part about him, and we'll take what happens after that.
Do the Dodgers have enough pitching to win a World Series?
I'd say right now, right down today, I don't know if they do. Again, we're going back to your Grove, Pepiot. Who else you bring up? Sheehan or Stone, any of those guys. Who you going to bring back up with them? And do you get Walker back? You get Walker back as a 5 or 6 inning guy. That's the best case scenario. You get Walker back and a 5 or 6 inning guy. That ups your chances right there. Like we said again, in a series, you don't need as many pitchers. You got to have quality, but you don't need as many pitchers you do in the regular season to try to survive. So. I think as of today, I don't know if they do, but, there's some people out there that can change that. Some of those young kids in Walker Buehler and in the Lance Lynn that we saw when he first became a Dodger. So there's some things that could change that, and a healthy Kershaw. So there's a lot of ifs still, but it's that way in baseball.
Yeah, 5 innings is pretty aggressive with Buehler. He threw 2 innings in his outing the other day on Sunday that I saw. But the reason why I think it is theoretically possible that he could throw 5 innings is if we saw like Ryan Pepiot last night, or like Greg Maddox's no-hitter in 1997 when he threw like I think it was 67 pitches for the whole 9 innings, something like that. If he goes out and he's really efficient, and 2, you only have to throw him once in the entire series, and the way that these series are spread out with the TV, he's going to have like 8, 9, 10 days in between starts. So if you stretch him a little bit, I think you could feel comfortable from that perspective.
No, there's no doubt about it. That's a positive for the Dodgers there. If he could get to that 5 inning, at least a 5 inning level, and like you said, he's going to have plenty of time off. That's a bonus, and that changes the game. As of today, of course, with a 13-game lead, it's not as much as if it's a 2-game lead and you're fighting for your life.
Yeah.
Where you got to worry about your bullpen, who's fresh, who's not, who's hurt, who we got to watch, and that sort of thing. Right now, they can kind of got the luxury; they can start fine tuning things. But that's a great sign right there.
Yep. So I think 5 innings is probably, like I said a minute ago, very, very, very aggressive. I don't think it's completely out of the realm. I think probably the over/under on that is 3 innings for Walker Buehler. As far as if it gives you a piggyback or if you consider him the opener or whatever. I think you're probably shooting for 3 innings at this point and hoping, hey, if everything goes perfect, we have a 10-day window to lay him off. Maybe we could stretch him to 4, maybe 5 innings, and that would just simply be fantastic. Hey, last question for me. Ryan Pepiot, not just last night, the way he's pitched all year. First of all, did he earn a position in your mind on the playoff roster? And if so, did he earn a start?
I think yes and yes on both of them. But, I'm just a fan. I'm not really, but I think, he's already proven the last two games he's pitched in the big leagues and what he's shown in AAA, it's time for him. And to go out and throw in, I don't care if you're going a perfect game, going in the 7th inning at a major league level, I don't care who you're pitching against. Those are major league hitters he's faced on the other side. So in my mind, I don't think there's any doubt that he's earned the right to be on the roster and probably earned a start at some point there. Yeah,
and he took down an offense that Lance Lynn couldn't take down. He took down an offense that Clayton Kershaw couldn't take down. Of course, a lot of that with Kershaw was the fact that his velo was down. His command wasn't good, I think, because of probably he's not totally healthy at this point. But having said that, those are two pretty darn good veteran pitchers that faced this same lineup and didn't have the success that Pepiot did.
Yeah, that's a good lineup. I mean, it's not a good team if you look at the big scheme of things, but that lineup's pretty dangerous for Miami. And to do what he did, again, against any team in the big league level is impressive. And that certainly, in my mind, earns him the right to be in your playoff plans, And the reality of it is you've got to have somebody. because you can't count on the Walker experiment going according to plan. We
Right.
prayed for the young man. He's a great talent that if things go health-wise that he's able to do that sort of thing. But the Dodgers are smart. They're not going to push him. They're not going to be stupid and hurt him again. So it's no guarantee you'll ever see him on the, ready to go at that level to help you out. So Pepiot is your guy. Sometimes you got to just get one of those young stallions out there and let them go.
Yeah, and the good thing about it, too, Bobby Miller and Emmett Sheehan, their last two performances have been against Atlanta, or at least they've pitched against Atlanta recently and had success, both of them, against that lineup. So it's not like, hey, these rookies are just throwing against the worst teams in the league, and the Dodgers are just trying to set them up for success, to give them confidence. Hey, they've been thrown to the Wolves. They've faced the Wolves, and they've had success against the Wolves. So I think that perspective that we've seen Emmett Sheehan, we've seen Bobby Miller go up against Atlanta Braves, who has the best offense in all of baseball, have success, that has to give you at least some confidence.
I think we probably don't. I know me and you talk about them, but they probably don't get as much credit as they deserve, considering what was going on back when this was a tight race and we'd lost our entire starting rotation. Miller, like I always tell you, my brother-in-law in Tulsa last year, man, he throws 100, he's all over the place. Well, it's not him anymore. He's like Pepiot. They fine-tune their craft. I've got the arm, but I've got to learn how to pitch. And I think Miller just beating the Braves the last game and avoiding a sweep is huge. We got a big lead. They got a big lead. No, but this is a big deal. That's the best offense. That's one of the best offenses in baseball with home run hitters up and down the lineup. And for him to come out and do what he did against them, but he's done that several times this year. And like I said, you can look at Sheehan, Pepiot, Miller, and say those guys may have saved our bacon this year. That they were able to come in and do some things here and there the entire season while we were trying to get Kershaw back. When you're at the trade deadline trying to get a big time starter, we didn't get Rodriguez, but we got Lance Lynn. I think his name Rodriguez, so I know when it turned out the trade. And then you got Lance Lynn. So at some point, you got to look back and go, that was huge for what those young kids did for our team this year, and that's something that can't be overlooked.
Not only that, but if you look at Dylan Cease, if you look at Lucas Giolito, who were the guys that the Dodgers, they could have gotten. They could have gotten Lucas Giolito, maybe a Dylan Cease if they would have just given up gosh knows what at the prospect level, which it would have been very steep. But if you look at the way they pitched, they have not pitched good since the trade deadline. Eduardo Rodriguez didn't want to come to the Dodgers, and then I know Verlander, he didn't want to come to the Dodgers either. So the only guys that the Dodgers could have gotten have not pitched anywhere as close to as good as the rookies have. So it actually worked in the Dodgers' favor. I know the postseason's a whole different animal, but having said that, it's kind of been a lucky scenario from that perspective. But hey, final thoughts before we get off and we get to talk about what happened last night down the farm, Coach.
I'm excited for what's coming in there and for the season and what the Dodgers have got going. And it looks like it's starting to set up. There's still a lot of ifs out there, but the positive thing is you got ifs with a 13-game lead. So you got the, and what kind of team you got. You got great leadership. You got the manager, the coaching staff. You got everything you need to be successful. Now it's just what do we got to do to get there? And I think that's exciting for all Dodger fans and Dodger players. So let's let it rip, as they say.
Dave Roberts is not going to have the luxury just to roll the ball out there to 5 dominant starting pitchers and just kind of fall asleep until the 7th inning, like some managers have been able to do. He's going to have to make a million different big-time, high-pressure decisions on the pitching staff. Does any of that worry you?
It doesn't worry me as much.
We can be honest here. That's okay.
No, it does worry me some from past history because you got to give him a little leeway too. He had a dominant pitching staff. It's easy to be a little bit, but now, like you said, he don't have that choice now. I want to get Joe Kelly back. Joe Kelly brings that bulldog mentality that we all love. When he's on your team, he's that guy you love on your team. You hate him when he's on the other team. But, I think he's on pace to get back pretty soon. That gives you that arm out of the bullpen who's got some experience and some toughness and some bulldog in. We want that guy back. But, I think out of necessity and based on the past Dave Roberts, I probably would be worried if they were all healthy going into
That's
it,
fair.
that they're going to make the wrong decision. But he hasn't had that luxury, I don't think, this entire year. To be real honest with you, he hasn't been.
Good point.
He didn't have the chance to do that. He had to, with a 2-game lead, there's a whole in rotation gone. He had to start learning how to piece it together back, 80 games ago. So I don't think there's any. He's not going to change in the playoffs, and and he knows they're not going to be able to roll a guy out there and just guarantee it's going to be a complete game. So I think him and the coaching staff have done a great job this year. And I would, we've all made mistakes in coaching, and maybe it wasn't a mistake in his eyes, and maybe it's just us fans out here whining and complaining about the way he handled pitchers. And it always looks good when it works. Always you're an idiot when it doesn't. We all know that's the nature of the game. But I think he's had to do that all year long. And honestly, I really feel he'll do fine in the playoffs because he don't have any choice. He don't have the luxury of being the other way.
Yep. Yeah, so you're kind of saying, hey, the way this team's gone this year, he has a good feel for exactly the moves from not necessarily an analytical perspective, maybe a combination of that between that and a gut perspective. Yep. I know I said final thoughts, but I had another question for you. I love picking your brain here. Hey, any chance that the fact that the Dodgers simply don't have anybody else, does that relax the rookies, knowing that, hey, I'm pitching because there is nobody else behind me that they have that they can legitimately put in right now? Is that a relaxing factor to them?
I think so. And I think you go back to what Pepiot just said in your interview, Casey. He went back down to Oklahoma City knowing I'm going back. And he's probably told that. I'm going back on a major league level. I'm probably going to be in the playoffs. What do I need to do? When he went to Oklahoma City, all the stuff he was talking about with you about trying to help himself. He knows there's nobody behind me. The guy, you got him, Sheehan, Stone, those guys there, and Bobby Miller. There you go. Yeah, I think that's got to relax them. We're not the number one game starter, but I'm gonna have to pitch in the playoffs, and that's what I got to prepare myself for. And that's why it's great when you see a young man like him talking about what he needs to do. He's worked, he's talked with the coaches and saw what worked, did a study video, and this young man he knows he's coming back and he knows he's going to pitch in a big game. I better get ready. I love it. I love the fact that those guys aren't shying away from it. Hey, give me the ball, coach. I'm ready to go. It's my time. And I think it is those guys' time. They're ready for the major league level. They got thrown to the wolves, thrown in the fire, however you want to put it, and they survived. So it's pretty dang good stuff.
No doubt. Coach, thanks again. Wonderful job. As always, I just look forward so much to every Friday.
Me too.
Getting a chance to see your face, getting a chance to talk to you. And not only that, get the chance to talk about the Dodgers, the Brooklyn Dodgers. I love that. And then, that's fit. Turn around one more time, please. Yes. One more time. All right, there we go. Dodgers, look at that with the B. Fantastic right there, Coach. That is just absolutely awesome. So, hey, tell Melissa hello for me.
I'll do.
Tell if you see Ron and Rex and Randy and the whole crew and Becky and all them, Chris, tell them hello, tell them I love them, and we'll talk to you next Friday.
Love you too, Case. Love your family. Tell everybody to say hello, and I'll talk to you Friday.
Okay, let's not waste more time then. Let's take a trip down the farm. Awesome job, Coach. That was awesome, man. I enjoyed that. That was 25 minutes. Perfect.
Yeah, I love those young.
It was a good night last night for AAA Oklahoma City as they took down the Space Cowboys, the AAA affiliates, the Sugarland Space Cowboys, the AAA affiliates of the Houston Astros last night. So good night for the AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers. Good night for Miguel Vargas, who had a couple of hits for AAA Oklahoma City. He's hitting .308 at the AAA level, OPS 909. Exit velos last night, 97.3, 90.8, 96.7, 81.6. So he didn't get anything over 100 miles an hour, but he did have 2 hits and 3 RBIs. So I wanted to show you the good night of Miguel Vargas. He has been pitching very well as of late, or hitting very well, I should say, as of late for AAA Oklahoma City. So Miguel Vargas, there you go. There's a good pitch inside. That's the pitch that had been beating him. Let me back that up just a touch. This pitch right here has been beating Miguel Vargas, at least did the major league level. In on his hands, pulled the hands inside, hit the baseball, pulled it, and made good contacts. I wanted to show you that from Miguel Vargas. Yorbit Vivas with his violent swing. He went violent with this home run last night. He's that guy that I always talk about that has that very violent swing, but he's able to do it because his head doesn't move. Hey, how hard should you swing? I learned a long time ago, each kid should swing as hard as they can until their head moves. Yorbit Vivas is athletic enough, strong enough to where he can swing really, really, really hard. It looks very violent, but yet the head does not move, so that's why he is able to still have success while swinging that violently. 4 hits last night for AAA Oklahoma City, including his first triple, and what you're seeing right here is first home run at the AAA level. So Vivas has hits in 4 out of his last 5 games. So great night last night for the young second baseman as he went kapow. Tucker Barnhart recently acquired catcher, to add depth and to see Austin Barnes. He came out, he overcame, or didn't have the concussion, so he's healthy. That's good, but just in case something happens to him, I would have to think that Tucker Barnhart would be the guy that would replace him on the postseason roster. 2 hits last night for AAA Oklahoma City. Barnhart's hitting .333 since he was picked up at the beginning of this month. So good look there at Tucker Barnhart. Lots of Major League experience, good depth. So in case something does happen to one of your catchers, you do have Major League experience to send up to the Major League level to play. What a year it's been for left-hander out of Madtown, Madera, California, Alec Gamboa. He was the opener last night for AAA Oklahoma City. He threw 2 scoreless innings. He gave up 0 hits as the opener in 2 innings. 2 strikeouts, lowered his ERA to 2.67. Fastball last night, 97.2. Hey, he was 98 in Sacramento a couple months ago, I should say. He's from California, and he had 1 million people there watching him. He had so much adrenaline. So you say, hey, well, he had the adrenaline, and he rode that. And so, hey, that's why he got his velo up so high. Well, hey, this last night, 97.2, that just goes to show it wasn't all adrenaline. It's the fact that his arm, he's unlocked something this year, and that's just kind of what he does. 97.2, spin rate, 2387. Now, that's at the top end for both of those, but 2387 on the spin from the left side, that is very good. So Alec Gamboa, in a year that he described as where the rubber was going to meet the road, it's met the road very well, and he is cruising on down the road. So well done, Alec Gamboa. Gonna say right now, with all the talent, we've seen Emmett Sheehan jump from AA to the Major League level. We've seen Landon Knack have a good year. We've seen River Ryan, Nick Frasso, all these guys. I'm gonna stop talking right now because I'm gonna miss somebody, and I don't want to do that. Gonna say right now, my opinion, Kylehurt's had the best year of any pitching prospect in the Dodgers organization. Talked to him, he said, it's all about repeating my delivery, and what a performance he gave last night. Wow. And that's saying something when you're talking about being the best, having the best year of any pitching prospect in the Dodgers organization. Because like I said, you're talking about Sheehan, who jumped to the Major League level, and guys that are just crazy, insanely good. But how about last night? 5 scoreless for Kylehurt. He struck out 6. Fastball touched 97.8. Cutter was almost 90 miles an hour, 89.4. And I talked to the analytics guy for the Drillers, and he point blank said, hey, if it's 89.9, that is not 90 miles an hour to us. We are sticklers on that. We don't round up. So 89.4 on the cutter, which is a great pitch, and the changeup approached 90. And he's thrown a 91 mile an hour changeup in the past. So Kylehurt, again, in my opinion, he has had the best year of any pitching prospect in the Dodgers organization. ERA 309, 145 strikeouts in 88.1 innings. And he's been in the zone more this year. He's learned to repeat his delivery better. It's just been a crazy good year for the young man out of Southern California, Kylehurt. It was great to see Michael Grove back on the mound. Hey, much like I've talked about with Ryan Pepiot and some of the guys who have rehabbed in the past that gave up a couple of runs like Michael Grove did last night in their first outing. You can see he's just throwing fastballs. He's just throwing them to spots. Probably doesn't even know who the hitters are. Throwing that little cutter pitch. Just trying to get the feel back for everything. So definitely not a results-based type deal. When you're on rehab, it's more sequencing. It's more get the feel back. It's more just throw your pitches. And so not concerned at all about the 2 runs. We've seen it a million different times. Matter of fact, Emmett Sheehan went back down to AAA and gave up 5 runs in his start and then came back up to the Major League level and was extremely good. So do not worry about the results at a rehab setting. Worry about the process. The process was very good for Michael Grove. This was the first time he had thrown since August 5th. And he hit 96.9 with his fastball. Cutter was 89.2. And all 3 outs that he recorded were via the strikeout. That's the thing with him, is that he can come in, give you a couple innings, get a bunch of strikeouts. And I know, as Sean says quite a bit, and I think he's right, hey, that strikeout stuff, when you have strikeout stuff that you can throw to hitters, that's what plays mostly in the playoffs. So I think they have to find a role. I think they will find a role for Michael Grove to help the big club, so hopefully he can keep pitching in his rehab and keep pitching well. Another guy with Major League experience that we have not seen this year with the Dodgers is Ken Giles. He finished the game last night. He had 2 walks, which, hey, that's not good, obviously, but it was just 1 strikeout. But his fastball was 94.8, spin hit 24-16, which is good, but that's not what makes Ken Giles good. The slider, 44 inches of vertical drop, and it had an 83% whiff rate. So, hey, the key is just like Jimmy Nelson with Ken Giles, when he's throwing that slider in the strike zone, it is virtually an unhittable pitch. That right there, it's a pitch that hitters just don't barrel up if they hit it at all. So, hey, 83% whiff rate on the slider, so we'll keep an eye on Ken Giles. You're looking at a guy right here that I'd have to think next year, 2024, you'll see him in the major leagues with the Dodgers. I think his ETA is next year. That is River Ryan. What a great year he's had. ERA 3.33. Last night he had a great night. And for the AA Tulsa Drillers, he has 93 strikeouts, 92.1 innings. 5 innings, he fanned the last 2 hitters. The thing I liked about him is that he got stronger. There's that little cutter slider pitch. He got stronger as the night went on. Hey, I think he could have continued to extend, but the Dodgers, look at that. That's a slider right there, the good emotion. That was the last pitch of his night right there. You can see the fastball is still good. The slider was still good. He could have extended if he needed to. So River Ryan, great year, 333, the big arm, the riding four seam, the good slider that we've seen a couple times. The carry at the bottom of the zone with a four seam. There's a good slider there to a lefty too. I do think you'll see him in a Major League uniform in 2024. It will be his turn soon. Super pumped about that because if you're ever around this guy, he has a Major League presence. His brother Ryder Ryan's been in the Major Leagues, and so he has dads, uncles who have all played professional ball. This guy, barring injury, is just about as can't miss as you can get as far as predicting will this guy make the Major League. So super excited where River Ryan is at right now. It's very difficult as a right-handed reliever in the Dodgers organization. We've seen that with Nick Robertson. We've seen it with Gus Varland, Mark Washington, Justin Hageman, who have all put up great numbers in the past and just had very, Gus Varland's got a little bit more runway as of late, but gotten very, light duty at the Major League level. The Dodgers go get a Ryan Brazier. They go get a Joe Kelly. They go get a Chris Martin, that type of deal. So, hey, it's hard to predict with relief pitchers in the Dodgers organization, but if Ricky Vanasco keeps pitching like he has pitched this year, he will be in the Major Leagues next year. There's Brandon Lewis, who, by the way, I think he's swinging the bat as well as he has. So, in the last couple of years, I think Ricky Vanasco, if he keeps pitching like he is right now, he will be in the Major Leagues next year. That's how good he has been since he has come up to Tulsa. Matter of fact, he has gone scoreless in 16 of his last 17 outings. He had 2 strikeouts last night, and he has 22 strikeouts in 14 innings since the beginning of August. So keep your eye out. Look out for Ricky Vanasco. Had a chance to communicate with him just a little bit, and he was just absolutely laser focused to the point to where he was very gracious. But I was like, hey, you know what? I'm not going to bother this dude. I might shoot him a message in the offseason when things wind down for him, but he's so focused right now. I'm not even going to bother him. I probably could have gotten an interview with him, but if I would have bothered him just a little bit, wasn't going to do it because he was so hyper-focused. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to leave this dude alone, let him do this thing, and I'll catch up with him on down the road at some time. So super laser-focused, super excited about where Ricky Vanasco is at right now. And like I said, keeps pitching like this, I think you'll see him in Dodger blue at the Major League level next year. What Great Lakes is taking down West Michigan 2 out of 3 in a series where West Michigan has to, they're fighting for the playoff life. So this has been fantastic. Taylor Young, who we're seeing here, well, he's been one of the best table setters in all of minor league baseball. In the second half of the season, he had 3 hits last night. That's his 4th 3-hit game since July 19th. He is 45 for 148 since that time on July 19. That's a 304 average. He scored 33 runs in that time, 23 stolen bases in that time. So like I said, Taylor Young, young man out of Louisiana Tech, just getting started, has been one of the best table setters, one of the best offensive players for the top of the lineup in all of minor league baseball. Dalton Rushing, man, not only is this guy good, he has fire in his belly. He actually got ejected last night, slid into second base and got called out for interference. Didn't like it. Probably threw a magic word or two out there. Him and his manager right there that you're seeing, Daniel Nava, they went out and argued the pitch. Ended up getting tossed in the 8th inning to Frank Rodriguez. Had to catch the 9th that you'll see here in a minute. But Dalton Rushing, he had 2 hits last night, including his 18th double. He was also on base 4 times, and he had an extra base hit in 3 games in a row. 4 of his last 5 and 7 out of his last 10 he's had extra base hits. So, boy, he is on an extra base hit tear, specifically home runs. He's had 12 RBIs in that span as well. So, hey, this dude, Dalton Rushing, doing damage. Yainer Fernandez had a couple of knocks last night for Great Lakes, including his 3rd triple of 2023, which came with the bases loaded. It cleared them all. So Yainer Fernandez had 3 RBIs, all on one swing of the bat. That extended Yainer Fernandez's hitting streak. Here it is right here. Here is the bases clearing triple with, I believe there's no outs right here, so it's surprising that all 3 runs scored. But after you see it ricochet off the wall like that, you see Jake Vogel score, Taylor Young score, and then the 3rd run comes in. I believe that is Damon Keith, maybe Nick Biddison that scored there as well. Yeah, no, that's actually Dalton Rushing that scored the 3rd run, and there's Yainer Fernandez with cruising into 3rd base with his triple that extended his hit streak to 5 games, and he's 8 for 18 in those 5 games. So great job, Yainer Fernandez. My young man out of Oklahoma State, he's finally getting consistent playing time here in September. And boy, what is he doing with it? He's hitting .330 for 3 so far. I should have said, hey, that's Max Hewitt. He's a new at Oklahoma State. I love this guy. This guy plays with fire. He plays with passion. He loves baseball. You know, I got a chance to see the video with Heath Holliday, who used to be who's a cousin, by the way, of Jackson Holliday, who's getting promoted through the Orioles system. Heath Holliday was a scout in the Dodgers system who actually he was the one who got Max Hewitt signed with the Dodgers. Very emotional moment when it happened. He went into the weight room at Oklahoma State University, told Max. Max actually broke down, and he's done a little bit of everything. Hasn't had a lot of opportunity to play. He's been a bullpen catcher, just kept grinding at the professional level. Finally getting consistent playing time, and no surprise to me, I saw every one of his college at-bats, if not every one, almost every one of his college at-bats. No surprise to me, he is taking advantage of that opportunity, hitting .333, OPS 800 so far in September. So, hey, keep killing it, Max. The Dodgers definitely need left-handed relief pitchers. Christian Suarez is on the way. Maybe Ronan Kopp if he stays in relief. Suarez is on a heater. If you followed along, I've talked about him being kind of like Jermaine Rosario. Hey, one inning or one outing is good. As a matter of fact, one outing is dominant. The next one he's not in the strike zone, that kind of thing. That is over. At least I think it is. It has been, at least as of late, for Christian Suarez. He has turned a corner. So it should come as no surprise if you follow Dodgers Daily that Christian Suarez is having this kind of success, because his left-handed stuff is very, very good. 2 strikeouts for Suarez, I should say. He gave up no hits and no walks. That's the key for him. No walks for Christian Suarez, and he's given up just 2 earned runs in his last 14.2 innings. So great job, Christian Suarez. The Maytag, Jack Dreyer, let the first 2 guys on base. You can see right there on your graphic, 2 guys on, and then he put it in spin cycle and started spinning some breaking balls, throwing that 4-seam up in the zone. The next thing you know, man, it was absolutely good morning, good afternoon, and good night for the West Michigan Whitecaps. This is must-see TV. He got the next 3 guys. Look at that hammer right there. That is a great pitch from Jack Dreyer. Must-see TV. He is just absolutely awesome in these high-leverage late innings. Another left-handed reliever that the Dodgers desperately need in their system. Must-see TV, ERA 2.30 on the year for Dreyer. 79 strikeouts, 54.2 innings. So great job, Maytag, Jack Dreyer. You know, Coach Holt, who we just had on at the beginning of this show for our first segment, he used to always say, hey, let's get a lead, and then let's make it boring. Meaning, let's get a 3 or 4 run lead, then let's just kind of make the game go away. Let's pitch to, let's pitch in a way that doesn't give the other team any kind of spark. Let's not look at that breaking ball, that slider for Michael Hobbs. That is just a great pitch. Let's not wake up the Giant. Let's not do anything to give them momentum. Let's not give them a spark, and let's let this game just kind of wilt away, if you will, and be boring after we get a lead. That's what Michael Hobbs did to the ninth inning last night. Again, West Michigan, they're fighting for their playoff spots. They wanted to create some energy. They just simply couldn't. You can see the emotion from the hitter there because Michael Hobbs, you saw right there in that video, that's as dirty as Michael Hobbs, as dirty as he is. That's as dirty as he's been all year. That was some big-time stuff that he threw last night to finish the game and get the save for the 7th save of the season for the Great Lakes Loons. ERA this month for Michael Hobbs, 3.0. It was 1.0 in August, 2.38 in July, 2.08 in June. So Michael Hobbs doing a great job. So there you have it. There's our show for you today. A busy show, a lot to talk about. I want to thank Coach Holt again for joining. I always love to have a chance to get to see him and get to talk to him and talk baseball, talk Dodgers baseball, and get his thoughts on what's going on in the current state of the Dodgers. So appreciate that. Hope you enjoyed today's show. Next time you see me will be Monday morning as Austin Brubaker will join, and we'll have our Monday mailbag. Hopefully next Wednesday, have it scheduled for Ryan Falla, who writes good stories for Dodgers 2080. He covers the Angels and the Dodgers. He's going to join, which is going to be exciting because it'll be the morning after the playoffs started for the minor leagues. So look forward to that next Wednesday. But hey, next time you'll see me will be Monday morning. So I hope you tune in then. So, hey, before we get out of here, just a reminder, we are open for business. If you or you know somebody who has a business that would like to sponsor this show, dodgersdaily.net, the Dodgers Dog Show, any of the social media platforms, just DM me, leave a comment. You can email me at dodgersdaily73@gmail.com. Again, that's dodgersdaily73@gmail.com. Also, don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment, even if it's, hey, thanks or whatever. Let YouTube think that this video is getting interacted with. That gets it suggested more, gets more views. We keep growing, and we can keep doing what we love to do, which is providing content like this in the future. So as always, I'd like to thank you for tuning in and say, go Dodgers.